All right, lesson 72. We didn't get to it in class the other day, so I'm going to go ahead and do it today. And then we're also going to do, or I'm going to do video, and then there's going to be a video of 73 and 74. And then you have a test on Monday, okay? So here we are with 72. We have some warm up. Go ahead and do that right now. Pause me, and then go ahead and do it. And then I will work through them with you, give you some hints if you need any help. And go ahead and pause now. Okay, so now you've unpaused. I'm assuming this is finished. I hope that is correct, the ones you could do. So here we are, -10 and +17. They're opposite signs, so 17 is going to win the battle. And so we're going to take the 10 away from 17, so it's going to be a +7. All right, this one, 2/3 squared, is the same as this in your head. 2/3 times 2/3. Okay, or 2 squared over 3 squared. So we get 4/9. Two ways to look at that. All right, this one, we're going to get to do this systematically later, but when we do it in mental math, we know that 6x plus 2 is 32, so 6x equals 30, and x equals 5. And we've got the next one. What decimal is 10% of 3.6? Or sorry, 36. 10% of 36 is 3.6. Move that decimal to the left one. All right, 500 grams to kilograms. So we go to the left, or that decimal moves to the left toward where the kilograms are, and it goes 3 times 1, 2, 3. So it's 0.5 kilograms. Okay, 33 1/3 of $36 is the same percent is the same as 1/3 of 36. 1/3 of 36 is just divided by 3, so it is $12. And there we go. All right, so now we're going to jump into the lesson. Now the lesson has situations like this. If 12 books weigh 20 pounds, how much would 30 books weigh? And there are 2 methods to doing it. So we have 12 books is 20 pounds, how much would 30 books? We can do it by using the rate method. Okay, we're going to look at these like rates. So we can say a rate like 12 books is 20 pounds. The other way would be to write 12 books. So these are our rates. Or you could write 20 pounds is 12 books. Okay, so stay with me on that. Those are the 2 rates that we can write. So what we do is now we're looking for 30 books. How much do they weigh? So we're going to multiply 30 books by one of those rates. Now think about if we want to cancel out books and we want to end up with pounds. We need books down here, right? So we're going to use this rate. Now if this is not your favorite way of doing this, that's okay. So just stay with me. We would put 12 books. We're going to take the rate that they gave us in that first sentence, right? And then we're going to put the pounds on top because we want to end with that. So now you see the books cancel out. We're going to be left with an answer that has pounds. So what this means, remember you can put that over 1 if you want, 30 times 20 over 12, or divided by 12. Now I see that we can do some cross-canceling or even reducing right here. So I can look at this and say, okay, well, 6 goes into 12 2 times and goes into 30 5 times. And now 2 and 20, right? 2 goes into 20 once, and 10, sorry, goes into 2 1. 2 goes into 2 once, and it goes into 20 10 times, yes. So now we're down to 50 times, or 5 times 10. Oh my goodness, I keep saying the answer. So we get 50 pounds is the final answer. Okay, so that's the rate method. Okay, The other method would be a chart, okay? And let's go ahead, and most of our charts these days are 2 columns, right? And they wrote case 1, case 2. I'm just going to write it like this. I'm going to say books, pounds, and they wrote case 1, case 2. Okay, so now we're going to fill in this chart what we were given. So we take the first sentence, if 12 books were 20 pounds, in our first case, 12 books were 20 pounds. Then our next case would be 30 books. So we put that in the book row, and we want to know how many pounds. Okay, now that's a ratio or a proportion. Now 12 times, that's a little hard, right? So we've run out of space for me to show you both methods. So I wish I had given more space. So I'm going to go ahead and pull a sheet of paper over, and you can try and fit it or do it on a separate sheet of paper, okay? Whatever works for you. But I do want you to write this down. So I'm going to bring this up to here just so you can see. Well, no, I'll just write it. Okay, the ratio. We know that we could just say books to pounds, right? So 12 over 20 equals 30 over, we're going to just say P because we don't know. That's what we're looking for. So there's our ratio. Now, some of you have forgotten how to do ratios, and so once you have it set up with a fraction equals a fraction, we first get the cross product. So we take the bottom of one and multiply it by the numerator of the other, the bottom of one. So we would have 12p equals 30 times 20. Okay, so now we can even simplify that. So that's 12p equals 600. Now this is now something we did the other day. This is an equation that we can solve for. So 12 times p equals 600. In order to get p by itself, we want to divide both sides by 12. So go ahead and write that as a line by line. It's okay, do this on a separate sheet of paper, just staple it, just so I see that you did the notes, okay? So now we got p equals 600 divided by 12. Well, 60 divided by 12 is 5, okay? So 60 divided by 12 is 50. And see, we get the same answer as when we did it. We got p equals 50 pounds. Okay, so we put 50 in there using this method, okay? Writing all that out, and that's okay. This was fun. That should feel fun to you. So, rate or proportion. I like proportions, always have. I love just getting the cross product and solving an equation. This might have been more your speed. If it is, you're probably more unique. I think most of us tend to like that way. All right, let's jump to the next problem. Okay, if 5 pounds of grapes cost $1.20, how much would 12 pounds of grapes cost? Now, the nice thing about this is these are real life situations, right? That you might see at the grocery store, 5 pounds, $1.20. And then you guys want to buy 12 pounds. So you want to know how much that is going to be, because you don't know how much 1 pound is, do you? So it says first estimate the answer. 5 pounds of grapes is $1.20. And so if you want to do 12 pounds, well, 12 pounds is a little more than double 5, right? So if we doubled this, it'd be $2.40, and it'd be a little more than that. So somewhere an estimate would be, you know, any number between $2.50 and $3. Okay, so maybe I'm going to write estimate would be, I don't know. We could even just write, this is what the book does, $2.50 to $3, okay, is what we're hoping for. Now, the reason we estimate is because sometimes you get answers, and you need to be able to recognize if it's way, way off of reality, okay? So when we do this using a ratio box, we're hopefully going to get a number between $2.50 and $3. So let's make our ratio box. And again, we're doing pounds to dollars, right? So you could even just say pounds to dollars, all right? I don't like writing extra if I don't have to, as long as I know what those variables mean. And case 1 is that 5 pounds is $1.20. And we need to know how much 12 pounds is, and we're looking for that magic space there. So again, this isn't obvious. There is no factor we can multiply 5 by to get 12. So we've got to set it up like a ratio problem. So we're going to do 5 over $1.20 equals 12 over D. Okay, and now we do cross product. So we're going to do 5D equals 12 times 1.2. I'm going to leave that 0 off. Okay, now we could multiply 12 times 1.2, so let's do that. That means 5D equals, let's see, 12 times 1 is 12, and 0.2 times 12 would be 2.4. So 12 plus 2.4 is 14.4. Okay, and now we're going to get D alone. So we divide both sides by 5, and we're going to do that off to the side, and that's okay. It's super fun. So fun, right? Alright, so we get 288 when we divide. So now I'm going to say D equals 288. I wish I had room below because I like to keep it in a nice line-by-line form. But I did not give us enough space on this worksheet, so I apologize. So 288 is how much? Now we're going to go back to our estimate. Is that between $2.50 and $3? Absolutely. So I'm very happy with our answer, and we can move on. Mrs. S can tie 25 bows in 3 minutes. Wow, that is quite an accomplishment. Okay, 25 bows in 3 minutes. At that rate, how many bows can she tie in an hour? Wow. These crack me up when they're story problems that are just weird, okay? Just weird. So we're going to do this both ways. Again, you're going to need to use your extra sheet of paper because there's no way we're going to be able to do this problem with the rates and a ratio box. So we'll do rates on this page and then the ratio box on the next page. Okay, so our rate is 25 bows in 3 minutes. And we want to know 1 hour. Now let's convert hour to minutes. We've got two different units for time. So let's go to minutes. So we want to know how many she can do in 60 minutes. So we've got to figure out what rate are we going to do. Are we going to 3 minutes on top, 25 bows on the bottom, or 25 bows on top, 3 minutes on the bottom? Well, because we want them to cross, like diagonal, we want 3 minutes down here and 25 bows up here. Okay? And now we can cancel those out, and I see that I can cross cancel. The 3 goes into 60 20 times. So now we've got 20 times 25. Well, what's 2 times 25 is 50. So 20 is 500 bows. Wow, Mrs. S. That is quite amazing. You can tie 500 bows in an hour. I don't know if that's how I'd want to spend an hour, but she's got a talent, man. She better use it. So yes, 500 bows. Now let's do it using a ratio box on my other sheet. All right. So I'm going to just go ahead and do my box, and we can do bows and minutes. Remember, we did a conversion there. That is a trick later on when you don't have the same units. Most of us make a mistake with that at least once in our life. Okay, so she can do 25 bows in 3 minutes. How many bows can she tie in 60 minutes? Okay. So here are our fractions. So we can say 25 thirds equals something over 60. And now we do the cross product. So 3b equals 25 times 60. Now, in order to save some work, instead of actually multiplying 25 times 60, let's leave them next to each other like that, and it's totally legal. And get b alone without actually multiplying this yet. So to get b alone, we're going to divide both sides by 3. And now we can simplify. So those guys go away and become 1b. And now I can take this and see that I can reduce 60 thirds. And I can do that right now. So 3 goes into 60 20 times. And now we've got the 25 times 20, which was 500. Okay, so again, your sheet should look like this. You should have a couple, if you want to. This was example 2, and this was example, sorry, this was just nothing. So, sorry, rambling. All right, example 3. This is what's called an analogy, and it's when a sentence is written this way. 6 is to 15 as 9 is to what number? What they're saying here is relationships. 6 has a relationship with 15 in a way that 9 also has a relationship with this mystery number. Okay, we can set this up just like a proportion or in the proportion box. Okay, so we would go like this. You could say case 1, case 2. It's not really that important. It doesn't even remember. It says this isn't even as important, except, well, maybe first number, second number. Okay, 6 is to 15. As 9 is, so 9 is the first number to what number? Okay, I'm just going to write an N. 6 is to 15 as 9 is to something else. This is another way to write a proportion. So we're going to set it up like that. Do the cross product. So 6n. I like to do the cross product that includes the variable on the left. I just naturally like to have my variable, my letter, on the left. Okay, and 9 and 15. That order doesn't matter. Okay. Now we can go ahead and multiply 9 times 15, or we can isolate, get n by itself. All right, so now we've done that. We got 1n, and now we can do some reducing. I see that these two have 3 in common, so goes in there twice, goes in there 3. So now we have 3 times 15 divided by 2, right? Now I already can tell this is going to be a fraction, because 3 times 15 is 45. 45 halves. Okay, we can just write it that way. Can be turned into a mixed number. 2 goes into 44 22 times, with 1 half left over. Okay, so 6 is to 15 as 9 is to 22 and a half. Okay, they have a similar ratio or proportion. Okay, now you've got an opportunity to do the practice. I want you to go ahead and do that and come back and check this if you get stuck. Notice that some of them want you to use, like letter B here, wants you to show both methods. Okay, the first one just tells you to use a ratio box. Both methods, you got to try using a rate here. And then this is like the one we just did. Okay, so go ahead and get that done and check your answers. And I'm going to go ahead and do them now. Okay, Kevin rode 30 kilometers in 2 hours. At that rate, how long would it take him to ride 75 kilometers? Okay, so 30 kilometers is 2 hours. 75, well, that's more than double, right? If you multiply 30 times 2, you get 60. And so 60 kilometers would be 4 hours. So it's going to be more than 4 hours, right? So I might say 5 hours is my estimate. Something around 5 hours, okay, is going to be, there's my estimate, 5 hours. And now I'm going to go ahead and do a rate. No, ratio box. Okay, so we've got 30 kilometers. Here's my box. In 2 hours. So we're going to say kilometers, hours. And how long will it take them to go? 75. And I'm going to set that up. So we got 30 over 2 equals 75 over x. All right, now I see that 30 over 2 can be reduced, but let's leave it like that for now so you can do the cross product, because this is solving an equation that we haven't discussed yet. So go ahead and write 30x equals 2 times 75. Okay, now to get x alone, we're going to divide both sides by 30. And those cancel out, leaving us a 1x down there. And now I see that I can, 15 actually goes into both of those. Okay, 15 goes into 30 2 times, and it goes into 75 5 times. But notice this, these also cancel out to 1, so it looks like we have 5 left. Okay, so it takes 5 hours. Now look at what I did. My estimate was dead on. Does that always happen? No, especially when we get fractions and stuff. But I also noticed this with ratios. Sometimes you see other relationships, like 30 divided by 15 is 2, 75 divided by 15 is 5. So you might have been able to notice that this was going to be a 5 without all this, but it's still good to show how to solve equations. Okay. Moving on, letter B. If 6 bales are needed to feed 40 head of cattle, so 6 bales, 40 head, okay? How many bales are needed to feed 50? Now it says use the rate method and then use a ratio box. So for the rate method, I start with what I'm looking for, 50 head. Then I'm going to use the rate that they gave me right here. We had 6 bales, 40 head. Now what I'm going to want is head down here, 40 head, okay, and 6 bales on top. And now I have what I need to cancel out, because remember that one's on top, so now they're diagonal. And now I see that we can do lots of canceling. This would reduce to, I can just cross out a 0, turn 4/5, or 10 goes into 40 4 times 5, okay? You get what I'm saying? And then 4 and 6, 2 goes into 4 twice and into 6 3 times. So now I've got 5 times 3 divided by 2, which is 15 halves. Okay, so we would say 15 halves bales, right? But we can make that something that means something. 15 halves, 2 goes into 15 7 times with 1 half left. So 7.5 bales is our answer. Now we're going to do that with the ratio box. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do the box right here. I'm doing a skinny box, so I have room. And we've got, I'm going to say bales and head. Okay, 6 bales, 40 head. I want to know how much 50 head, how many bales. So I've got 6 over 40 equals, we could say B, even though it looks like a 6, B over 50. Okay, so cross product is 40. All right, my camera battery ran out, so I had to recharge it, and I didn't know it ran out, so I wrote all the answers. I'm just going to show you what I did. This is where I left you. Then I cross-canceled and ended up with 3 times 5, 15 over 2, which is 7.5 bales. Okay. Now for the last one, I did it really fast. I did 5 is to 15 as equals, 9 is to n, and set it up. And I actually reduced this 5/15 to 1/3, 3 times 9, and 1 times n. So it goes 1n equals 3 times 9, which is 27. Okay, so I did that one in a quick. So that's it for it. And it seemed like a long video, and I apologize if you watched every single minute. do some jumping jacks or something, get your blood flowing again after having to listen to me. And I will try and make the next days a lot quicker. Thanks a lot, gang. See you on